Welcome back to 10-Minute Mysteries. Take a moment to like and subscribe, and let me know of any mysteries you would like me to cover. Today's video, we're going to cover the top 10 mysteries you probably haven't heard of. Now, let's get into it. Number 10. The Murder of Marvin Brandland. On the night of trick-or-treat in 1982, Marvin and his wife were handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. One of the trick-or-treaters showed up wearing a pillowcase with holes cut out for eyes and demanded, "Trick-or-treat, give me your money or I'll shoot you." Marvin and his wife thought this was a trick-or-treat prank, so they kind of played along until the perpetrator lured them to the basement so that he could get into their safe. And when Marvin, thinking it was a prank, went for the gun, the guy in the ghost mask shot Marvin in the throat. Although the family says they know who did it, to this day, no one was arrested. And unfortunately, Marvin lost his life. Number 9. The Gurdon Light Mystery. The Gurdon Light is a mysterious light that's located on railroad tracks in Gurdon, Arkansas. It is the subject of local folklore in which they say a train director walks the tracks with a light. They say the light has been various colors from blue to green or white to orange, and it has been described as bobbing around. They also state that it shows up at various times of day or night. There are speculations that it is reflections of the lights from the highway that creates this illusion, but the locals still think that there is a train director walking the path of the railroad tracks that are abandoned, trying to show people the way. Number 8. The Disappearance of Stephen Damon. Stephen Damon was born on December 15th in 1952. He would disappear along with his sister Pamela on October 31st, 1955. He was left in a stroller in front of a bakery in New York. His sister was found unharmed a few yards from the shop, but he was only 2 years old. In November of the same year, the family did receive a ransom note for $3,000. All of this because the mother left the stroller outside of the bakery and the stroller got away from the curb. Recently in 2009, a man named John Barnes of Michigan has come forward, and he suspects that he may actually be the child, Stephen Damon, that's been missing for over 50 years. Number 7. MKUltra. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of MKUltra, but did you know that the United States wasn't the only country it affected? It also affected Canada. And it was just in 1977 that the doctor came out and stated that the experimentations were useless. MKUltra was a program that started in the 50s in which the CIA was using LSD to try and perfect or find a way to mind control their soldiers in order to make them do things that they were unaware of. There is a famous story of an actress/model named Candy Jones who vividly remembered things that she hadn't done. Come to find out, she was around the same doctor that was admitting the MKUltra drugs, and she had so many things that were strange happening. She died not knowing if she was part of the MKUltra program. Number 6. The Walker County Jane Doe. The Walker County Jane Doe is an unidentified murder victim and a victim of an unsolved crime whose body was discovered in the 1980s in Texas. Her age was between 14 and 20 at the time of her death, and her body was discovered within hours of her SA and murder. To this day, they still do not know who this person is, and it has been 30-some years. There have been speculations of her identity, but the DNA results have come out and found other people that were missing, but nobody has been able to determine her identity. She did pass by strangulation, and who knows if we'll ever find out who her killer was or her identity. Number 5, the Big Grey Man. The Big Grey Man is Scottish folklore. It is the name for a presence or creature which is said to haunt the summit pass of Bend Macdhu. It's the highest peak of the Cairngorms and the second highest peak in all of Scotland. There have been several encounters where people say they feel like somebody towering over them is following behind them, and they would hear loud noises and grunts and see eyes glowing in the dark. Similarly, it resembles the modern day Bigfoot that we hear a lot about, where it's a 6, 7, 8 foot tall being covered in hair. A lot of them think that it's gray because of the fog on the summit or because of the snow on the summit, but nobody has actually been able to identify or point out the Big Grey Man. All I know is that people are afraid that the Big Grey Man might get them. Number 4, the Stain of Margaret Schilling. Margaret Schilling was found dead in an abandoned room in an insane asylum in Athens, Ohio in 1979. When they found her body, she had been dead for nearly a month. And when they removed her body, the stain from her decomposed corpse would remain on the concrete. And to this day, no matter how much they've tried to clean it or resolve it, the stain remains. It has officially become a tourist attraction, and people come to see the stain of Mary Schilling from around the world. They say that Mary Schilling passed as she got stuck in an abandoned wing of the asylum and got locked into a room. They say they found her naked, laying face down on the ground with her clothes folded neatly next to her. It seems that she may have had a mental break, got stuck, and passed away due to being exposed to the elements because she had heart failure from being so cold. Number 3, the mysterious death of Orange Socks. Orange Socks was an unidentified murder victim who was found on October 30th or 31st of 1979. Her murder is believed to have taken place on the night that they were trick-or-treating. Her body was found naked except for a pair of orange socks for which the nickname derived. She had been strangled and was believed to have died only hours before they discovered her body. For years, there was speculation of her identity, and even a serial killer named Henry Lee Lucas confessed and was convicted for her murder. But it was determined later that he was in Florida while the murder was actually in Texas. Through the years of all the investigation in 2019, they finally identified Orange Socks as Deborah Jackson. Members of the Jackson family did visually identify her body based on the morgue photos and physical characteristics. Thankfully, we did find out who Orange Socks was, but we did not find out who killed her. Number 2, the Falcon Lake incident of Canada. Stefan Michalak would claim he was burned by one of 2 flying saucers, which he reportedly came in contact with in 1967 near Falcon Lake. It would appear by the photos that he would have grid burns across his chest and his t-shirt, which would be considered now one of the most documented UFO stories in Canada. Plenty of people did not believe him, but he was adamant that he saw 2 flying saucers, and when he went to touch one, it burnt him in a grid-like pattern, and when he woke up, they were gone. To this day, they still do not know whether it's a true story or not, but in 2018, the Royal Canadian Mint did release a $20 silver coin depicting the event in honor of Stefan Malachek. Number 1, the boy in the box. In 1957, a boy's body would be found wrapped in a plaid blanket in the woods in Philadelphia. The naked body was inside a cardboard box which had once contained a bassinet. The boy's hair had recently been cropped, possibly after his death, as clumps of hair clung to the body. There was signs of severe malnourishment, as well as surgical scars on the ankles, the groin, and an L-shaped scar under the chin. It was a young man that discovered the bodies as he was checking his muskrat traps. He was worried that the police would confiscate his traps, so he did not report what he had found. And it took a few days later when a college student spotted it, and then he reported what he saw. Unfortunately, the boy was not identified, and to this day, we still do not know who the boy in the box was. It has been over 50 years, and all we know is that the boy was dead in a box with a blanket, with no information. And that concludes the top 10 mysteries that you probably haven't heard of. Let me know if I touched on any mysteries that you've never heard of. And also let me know if there's any mysteries you would like me to cover. Take a moment to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for another 10-minute mystery.